So I've been teaching English for almost 20 years, and it seems that many students misunderstand what shadowing is really good for. I've met many learners who spend hundreds and hundreds of hours shadowing, and yes, they are more confident, they sound more fluent, and they are faster at speaking. But many of them still don't sound the way they hoped they would. So what's going on? Well, I don't think shadowing is the problem itself. In fact, I love shadowing. I think it's one of the most useful language learning techniques available, especially for intermediate learners and up. The problem, in my opinion, is that many learners expect shadowing to do something it was never really designed to do. Now, before I go any further, I should probably say that this isn't an anti-shadowing video. I like shadowing, I've used shadowing myself, I recommend shadowing to my students, but over the years, I've started to notice something. Many learners shadow because they want a better accent, right? They want clearer pronunciation. They want to sound more British or more American or more like a native speaker. And that's where a lot of frustration begins, because shadowing certainly helps some aspects of speaking, but I don't think it works in the way many learners think it does. So quickly, what is shadowing? Well, traditionally, shadowing means listening to audio and repeating almost simultaneously as the speaker, and that's it. Of course, it means different things nowadays, but activities like listen, pause, repeat, that's not shadowing, in my opinion. It's very useful, but it's not shadowing. And I think it's important to understand where shadowing came from and what it was used for. So from my understanding, it came from the 1950s Soviet Russia, where researchers were trying to understand how quickly we can process speech and reproduce it. Later, it was used for interpreters, interpreter training, right, where they have to translate in real time. So they also have to listen, process, repeat very quickly. And then I think in the 1990s, a lot of researchers in Japan studied shadowing, and they started to slowly popularize shadowing. But I think nowadays, many people will say polyglots like Alexander Arguelles, and there's a guy called Moses McCormick who sadly passed away in 2021, but they really made it popular. So I think it's just important to know that shadowing was originally for processing rapid speech and then reproducing it. It was never meant for accent training, pronunciation training, and I think that's really important. Nowadays, there are many different types of shadowing, right? There's traditional shadowing, blind shadowing, performative shadowing, prosodic shadowing, content shadowing, mumble shadowing. I can go on and on. There's many different types, and they also have different uses. If you would like to know the different types, I will make a quick PDF for you guys, and there's a link in the comments section, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about my experience with shadowing, which started around 17 or 18 years ago, when a friend of mine shared a video of this very strange man walking up and down a bridge in a park, listening to audio and speaking Mandarin Chinese, using a book. And I thought, what is happening? Who is this guy? And now it is the very famous Alexander Arguelles. And so I really copied his approach, and it's very interesting. I would say it's a very strict system. You need bilingual texts, and you're switching between L1 and L2. You start with like blind shadowing, so you just listen and repeat. And it was really interesting, but it didn't really work for me. And that's okay. But I just wanted to understand the audio better at the start. So I slowly and gradually, step by step, created my own system where we do more understanding the audio and analysis, comparing ourselves to the speaker and noticing. That's the most important part. So we do all these other things before we shadow. And don't worry, I will talk about this more later on. And I will make another video as well to show you exactly how I do it, the full routine. Very quickly, guys, I just want to show you how amazing my camera operator is today. Look at the terrain she has to walk on while filming me at the same time. So please thank her in the video. It's my wife, if you don't know already. Now, just because shadowing was originally designed for something doesn't really tell us how language learners should use it today. Fortunately, shadowing has been studied quite a lot, especially in Japan. And interestingly, many of the benefits researchers talk about are the same benefits I've seen in my own students over the years. So it's particularly useful for listening comprehension, fluency, speaking flow, rhythm, processing speed, connected speech, confidence. And that makes sense, right? Because when you're shadowing, you're constantly listening and producing language in real time. Your brain has to hear the sounds, process the meaning, predict, right? Guess what's coming next. You're moving your mouth, you're keeping up with the speaker, all at the same time. So if you've ever shadowed consistently and felt more fluent, more confident and faster when you're speaking, well, that's not your imagination. That's exactly the kind of thing shadowing seems to be good at. Now, does shadowing help pronunciation? Well, yes, of course. It can help you develop a better sense of rhythm, stress, intonation, and connected speech. But I think this is where many learners become disappointed because they assume that if they shadow long enough, their accent will eventually become British or American. And personally, I don't think it's that simple. So where do I think many learners go wrong? Well, I don't think the problem is that they're shadowing. I think the problem is that they start shadowing too early. Many learners find a piece of audio and immediately start repeating it. But they haven't really trained their ear. They haven't spent time analyzing the audio. They haven't studied the speaker's pronunciation. They haven't listened closely for stress, rhythm, connected speech, and reductions. They haven't done careful listen and repeat exercises. And they haven't recorded themselves. They haven't compared themselves to the speaker. There are so many things, but because of that, they're often trying to copy sounds they can't fully hear yet. And in my opinion, this is where many learners get stuck. Most learners shadow before they've learned to notice. So I think shadowing becomes much more useful when you've trained your ear to hear the differences between your speech and the speaker's speech. In fact, this is probably the biggest thing I've learned over the years. I don't think pronunciation improves just because of shadowing, right? I think pronunciation improves because of noticing. And shadowing simply gives you opportunities to practice what you've noticed. And I'd go even further and say that the biggest gains in pronunciation happen during analysis and comparison, not shadowing itself. So if you can't hear the difference between your pronunciation and the speaker's pronunciation, well, it's very difficult to change it. So the goal isn't just repetition, right? More shadowing, more shadowing. The goal is learning to hear more accurately. I just want to say, don't you just love this area? If you can see, all the trees are on this hill, and it makes you feel a bit dizzy because it's a hill, but they're all going straight up. I absolutely love this place, guys. One of my favorite walks, actually. So, is shadowing a good technique? Well, yes, especially for intermediate learners and up. But I also think that many people expect it to do a job that should really be done by careful listening, analysis, comparing, and many other activities, even before you start shadowing. That's where the real pronunciation work happens, and shadowing comes after that. Now, if you want to see my complete routine that really helps your pronunciation, accent, speaking, listening, so many skills, click on the link somewhere here and please check that out. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.